Ever feel like the legal world is speaking another language? Like
Total.
you're lost in translation,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to something as big as adoption.
Yeah.
It can feel like a maze of rules and regulations.
For sure.
But guess what?
What?
It doesn't have to be that way.
Nope.
That's why we're diving deep into adoption in India today.
Oh, cool.
All the legal stuff,
Nice.
so you can feel informed and empowered every step of the way.
I like it.
We're basically handing you a legal decoder ring,
Awesome.
right, for
Yeah.
adoption.
Okay, so where are we starting?
Well, I thought it'd be helpful to start with a quick overview,
Good idea.
like setting the stage
Yeah.
for this deep dive.
Okay.
So what's interesting about adoption in India
Well,
is that it's not just one set of rules.
right?
There are two main legal frameworks.
Okay.
We have the Juvenile Justice Act of 2015,
Yeah.
which is like the overarching guide.
Okay.
And then we have personal laws,
Like what?
like the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act,
Okay.
that cater to different religious communities.
Interesting.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It reflects India's diversity,
Definitely.
but it can make things a bit more complex.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's like different paths,
Yeah.
depending on your background. But no matter which path you choose,
Okay.
there are some universal legal hurdles everyone has to clear.
Like what?
Like who can actually adopt in India?
Yeah, good question.
What do you think?
I mean, it's not as simple as just deciding you want to be a parent.
Nope.
There are definitely some ground rules.
Right.
And I think one of the biggest misconceptions out there
Okay.
is that only married couples can adopt,
Interesting.
which is totally not true.
Really?
Yeah, the 2015 Act really opened things up.
How so?
Well, it allows single individuals to adopt,
no way.
regardless of their gender.
Wow.
So that was a huge step forward
Yeah,
in recognizing that families can come in all shapes and sizes.
absolutely. So whether you're single, married, straight, or LGBTQ+,
Yeah.
you could potentially adopt.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It is,
It's a really powerful message.
for sure.
But I'm guessing there are still some specific criteria you need to meet.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right.
Right.
Make sure everything is, above board
Right.
and ethical and all of that.
Yeah, there's this organization called CRA,
What's that stand for?
Central Adoption Resource Authority,
Okay.
and they're the main body overseeing adoptions in India,
So they're like the gatekeepers,
pretty much.
making sure everything runs smoothly.
Yeah, and they have this set of eligibility criteria,
Okay. Uh-huh.
to make sure the child's well-being is always the top priority.
Got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So what kind of things are they looking for in a
Oh.
prospective parent?
It's actually a lot more holistic than you might think.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of thought it would be all about finances.
They do consider financial stability, of course.
Right.
Because they want to make sure you can provide for the child's needs.
Yeah.
But they also look at things like
Okay.
your physical, mental, and emotional health.
Oh, wow.
So it's really the whole picture.
Wow, that's really interesting.
And for couples, they require a stable marital relationship of at
Yeah.
least 2 years.
Okay.
So it's really about creating a...
So they're really trying to make sure that the environment is safe and loving
Exact.
for the child to thrive in.
That's the goal.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you've checked all those boxes
Uh-huh.
and CRA gives you the thumbs up.
Okay.
What happens next?
Well, then the real journey begins.
Okay.
You can imagine it as a journey
I like that.
with several steps,
Okay.
and each one brings you closer to welcoming a child into your family.
Uh,
So the first step is to register with an authorized adoption agency.
okay.
And this could be a specialized adoption agency or an agency recognized by CRA.
So it's not like you just go and pick a kid from a list.
No, not at all.
You have to go through an agency.
Right.
That's-
And they kind of act as a matchmaker.
I see.
The agency is there to guide you,
Okay.
to make sure you understand the process,
Uh-huh.
and to help you find a child who's a good fit
Okay.
for your family.
Gotcha.
So once you're registered,
Okay.
the next big step is the home study.
I've heard about those.
Yeah.
They sound kind of intense.
They can sound intimidating. I know.
Is it like
Mm.
having a social worker come in and judge your every move?
Not exactly. It's
Yeah.
more like a deep dive
Okay.
into your life and your home.
And so they just want to get a sense of who you are.
Yeah, the social worker wants to understand your motivations for adoption,
Okay.
your parenting style,
Uh-huh.
how you interact with each other as a family.
Okay.
They'll also assess your home environment.
To make sure it's safe.
Yeah, to make sure it's safe and suitable for a child.
Okay.
So
So it's less about like perfection
definitely.
and more about them getting a realistic sense of what family life is like.
Yeah, they're not looking for perfection.
Okay.
They're looking for genuine warmth, stability, and a commitment to providing a loving and nurturing environment.
Makes sense.
Okay, so we've got the registration with the agency
Yeah.
and the home study.
Mm-hmm.
What comes after that?
Usually there are some counseling sessions.
Okay.
Think of it as a crash course in adoption.
Interesting.
You'll learn about the joys and challenges,
Okay.
the legal stuff we're talking about today,
Correct.
and the emotional aspects
Right.
of bringing a child into your family.
So they really prep you.
It's all about preparing you
Yeah,
for this life-changing experience.
that's great.
Yeah,
It sounds like they really want to set you up for success.
definitely.
So you've gone through counseling,
Uh-huh.
you've had your home study,
Yep.
you're feeling prepared.
Okay.
What's next?
Well, then comes the referral process.
What is that?
This is where things start to get really exciting. Okay.
So the agency matches you with a child
Okay.
who is legally free for adoption
Based on your preferences.
based on your preferences and the information they've gathered about you.
Wow. So it's kind of like dating, but with way higher stakes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It is a life-changing decision.
absolutely.
And if you feel a connection
Okay.
and decide to move forward, you formally accept the referral.
Got it.
Yes.
So you've met the child.
Yep.
You've fallen in love.
Hopefully.
And you've accepted the referral.
Right.
Does that mean you can take him home?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
This is where things move to the legal arena.
Okay.
So the agency helps you navigate the legal procedure.
Like court and all of that.
Exactly.
Right.
Which includes getting a court order to finalize the adoption.
Okay.
So we're talking actual court appearances,
Wow.
judges,
Oh.
legal documents, the whole shebang. But
Right.
don't worry.
Okay.
The agency will be there to guide you every step of the way. Explaining the documents,
Great.
preparing you for the court hearing, making sure everything is done by the book.
That's good.
Yeah, so
That's reassuring.
I can imagine it's a bit overwhelming,
Yeah.
but having that support must make a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you've gone to court.
Yep.
The judge has given their approval.
Right.
You signed all the documents.
Right.
Can you finally bring your child home?
Almost.
Hmm.
Usually there's a period of pre-adoptive foster care.
Oh, what's that?
This means the child will live with you
Okay.
for a trial period,
Wow.
usually between 6 to 12 months.
So it's kind of like a test drive
Yeah, you could say that.
to make sure everyone's vibing
Right, exactly.
and the family's working well together.
Yeah, you get to really bond with the child,
Okay.
adjust to your new routine,
Mm-hmm.
and make sure everyone is happy and comfortable.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I want to back up for a second
Okay.
and talk about CRA again.
Okay.
We keep mentioning it.
Yeah.
But what exactly does it do?
So think of KRA as the big boss of adoptions in India.
Though?
They set the rules,
Uh,
they oversee the process, and they make sure everything is done ethically and transparently.
so they're really involved?
They're kind of like the guardians of the adoption world,
Yeah.
making sure the best interests of the child are always protected.
That's good.
Yeah.
So they're not just sitting in an office somewhere.
No, they're actively involved in every step of
Oh.
the process.
Okay.
They're responsible for things like
Okay.
accrediting and supervising adoption agencies, maintaining the National Adoption Database,
Wow.
and just ensuring that everything is above board.
Okay.
They're also a great resource for information and support
Okay.
for prospective adoptive parents.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It sounds like they're really committed to making the process
they are.
as smooth and transparent as possible.
Exactly.
Now, I know we're focusing on adoptions within India,
Uh.
but I'm curious about inter-country adoption.
Okay.
Is that a whole other can of worms?
It is a bit different. If you're outside India
Uh-huh.
and you want to adopt a child from here,
Okay.
you have to go through an authorized foreign adoption agency,
What's that?
or AFAA,
Okay.
and they act as a liaison
Like,
between your country and India,
I see.
making sure all the legal requirements are met on both sides.
So it's kind of like having a legal translator
That's a great way to put it.
for adoption.
Yeah.
Right.
AFAs are crucial
Okay.
for making sure inter-country adoptions are done ethically and legally.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I think we've covered the basics
Yeah.
of the adoption process, from eligibility to
Mm.
the role of CRA.
Right.
We even touched on inter-country adoption.
Yeah.
But before we move on, I have
Uh-huh.
one more question
What's that?
that I'm sure is on a lot of listeners' minds.
Okay.
The documents.
Ah, yes.
What kind of paperwork are we talking about here?
Well, no legal process would be complete without paperwork.
Of course.
But don't worry.
Okay.
It's not as daunting as it seems.
Okay.
You'll need the usual documents, like
Like what?
proof of identity, proof of residence,
Okay.
and if you're married, your marriage certificate.
Gotcha.
Then you'll need financial documents,
Okay.
like salary slips or bank statements,
Okay.
to show you can provide for the child.
Makes sense.
Of course, you'll need medical reports
Okay.
to show you're in good health.
To show you're healthy.
Yeah.
Okay. Done.
But perhaps the most important document of all
Okay.
is the home study report.
The home study report.
Yes, which we talked about a little bit before.
Yeah.
But
Why is that one so important?
the home study report is like a window into your family.
Okay.
It summarizes the social worker's assessment
Okay.
of your home,
Uh-huh.
your parenting style,
Okay.
your motivations for adoption,
Right.
and your overall readiness to provide a loving and stable environment.
So they're looking at the big picture,
Exactly.
not just like little details.
It's the culmination of all those conversations and observations that they made during the home visit.
So it's kind of like a character reference
That's a good way to put it.
for the biggest role you'll ever play.
Yeah,
Right.
being a parent.
Exactly.
So
It helps paint a complete picture.
it
does
does
to
to
that.
say in the court
Yeah.
to make an informed decision about
Okay.
whether you're a good fit for adoption.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
we have.
We've talked about eligibility, the step-by-step process,
Yeah,
the role of TRA,
right.
and even touched on inter-country adoption
We did.
and the all-important documentation.
It's a lot to take in,
Yeah.
but I hope our listeners are feeling more informed.
I feel a lot more informed.
Good.
Yeah.
So in the next part,
No.
we'll delve into some of the more nuanced aspects of adoption, exploring unique scenarios and those nitty-gritty details
Okay.
that can make a real difference in your journey.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
And listeners,
Yeah.
if you're finding this deep dive helpful,
Please.
be sure to hit that like button
Yeah.
and subscribe to Legum Doctors.
For more legal adventures
Yeah.
just like this one.
We break down complex legal topics
We do.
into bite-sized pieces
Yes.
so you can feel empowered to navigate the legal world
That's the goal.
with confidence.
Exactly.
Join us next time as we continue our deep dive into adoption in India.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive into the legal side of adoption in India. In part one, we walked through the basic process, talked about eligibility, and even touched on those essential documents.
The paperwork.
The paperwork, yes. But as with any legal matter, the devil is often in the details.
I love those little details.
Me too.
They're like hidden treasures that can make all the difference in understanding how things really work.
Yeah.
So what kind of legal gems are we unearthing today?
Well, let's revisit that mountain of paperwork we mentioned. Remember, it's not just about blindly filling out forms.
Yep.
Each document serves a purpose in building a complete picture for CRA and the court.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Okay.
We talked about the usual suspects: proof of identity, proof of residence, marriage certificates, financial documents, and medical reports. What else is there?
Yes. The star of the show, the home study report.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't just a formality.
Okay.
It's the social worker's chance to really capture the essence of your family.
Interesting.
They'll detail their observations from the home visit, your interactions, your parenting style, your motivations for adoption.
Okay.
It's all about showcasing your genuine commitment to providing a loving and stable home.
So it's like a story about your family.
Yeah.
Written by someone who's gotten to know you on a personal level.
Exactly. It goes way beyond just checking boxes.
Okay.
It's about conveying those intangible qualities that make your family unique and suited for adoption.
I like that. Now, remember how we talked about different adoption paths,
Yeah.
depending on your background?
Uh-huh.
What if you're looking to adopt a child from a relative?
Okay.
Does that change the paperwork game?
It does. It's still about ensuring the child's well-being.
Okay.
But the focus shifts slightly.
In what way?
For instance, you'll need consent letters from the biological parents.
Oh, that makes sense.
Formally acknowledging they're agreeing to the adoption.
Yeah, you want to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Right.
Especially when family dynamics are involved.
Exactly.
What about the age difference guidelines?
Okay.
Do those still apply in relative adoptions?
Interestingly, they often don't.
Really?
The emphasis is on finding the best home within the family.
Okay.
So age becomes less of a rigid factor.
Interesting.
It's a recognition that sometimes the most suitable parent might be a grandparent, an aunt, or even an older sibling.
So it's about prioritizing those existing bonds
Yeah.
and recognizing that family can take many forms.
Exactly, and it highlights how the law tries to adapt to different situations,
Right.
always with the child's best interests at heart.
Always.
Now, another scenario where the process might look a bit different is when adopting a child with special needs.
Oh, that's so important to address.
It is.
Every child deserves a loving home, and it's amazing that the legal framework in India recognizes and supports that.
Absolutely. The core process is the same.
Okay.
But there might be additional documentation needed,
Okay.
such as medical records or evaluations that provide a clear picture of the child's specific needs.
So everyone knows what's going on.
Right. This helps ensure everyone is fully informed and prepared to provide the necessary care and support.
So it's about transparency and making sure everyone is equipped to handle the unique challenges and rewards that come with adopting a child with special needs.
Precisely. It's also common for adoptive parents in these cases to go through specialized training or counseling sessions,
Oh, wow.
focused on understanding the child's specific needs and creating an environment where they can truly thrive.
It's like getting an advanced degree in parenting,
You could say that.
tailored to the individual child you're welcoming into your family.
Exactly.
Now, we've been deep in the legal weeds for a while now,
We have.
and I think it's important to step back and acknowledge that adoption isn't just about paperwork and court dates.
Right.
It's about building a family and navigating all the emotions that come with it.
You're so right. The legal side is crucial,
Yeah.
but it's only one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
The emotional journey of adoption is just as important, if not more so.
Absolutely.
It's a roller coaster
Yeah.
for both the child and the adoptive parents.
So let's talk feelings.
Okay.
What are some common emotional hurdles adoptive parents might face?
Well, one of the biggest is the uncertainty of the process.
Oh, yeah.
It can take time to find a match,
Okay.
and there might be unexpected delays or setbacks.
I can imagine.
It's a lot like waiting for that acceptance letter from your dream college,
Oh, yeah.
but with way more at stake.
Oh.
So that waiting period must be agonizing.
Yeah. It's all about patience
It is.
and resilience
Uh-huh.
and holding on to that hope that everything will work out in the end.
Absolutely. And then once the child comes home,
All right.
there's the whole process of bonding
Okay.
and building that parent-child connection.
Right.
This can be especially challenging if the child has experienced trauma or loss in their life.
It's a reminder that love doesn't always happen overnight.
It doesn't.
It takes time, effort, and a lot of understanding to build that trust and create a secure attachment.
Exactly. And it's crucial for adoptive parents to be prepared for those ups and downs,
Okay.
to celebrate the small victories and to seek support when they need it.
Speaking of support,
Mhm.
what about the child's emotional well-being?
Okay.
What kind of challenges might they be facing?
Depending on their age and background,
Uh-huh.
adopted children might be dealing with a lot of complex emotions.
Oh, yeah?
Separation anxiety,
Okay.
grief, a sense of loss,
Okay.
even confusion about their identity.
It's heartbreaking to think about what some of these children have gone through.
It is.
It underscores the need for adoptive parents to be trauma-informed,
Yeah.
patient, and equipped to handle those big feelings.
Absolutely. Creating a safe and nurturing environment
Right.
where the child feels comfortable expressing their emotions is crucial.
That makes sense.
And remember those post-placement follow-up visits we talked about?
Yeah.
Those play a huge role in supporting everyone's emotional well-being.
So it's not just about checking in on the legal stuff.
No.
It's also about providing emotional support,
Right.
resources, and guidance
Yeah.
to both the child and the adoptive family
Exactly.
as they navigate this new chapter.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner,
Yeah.
rooting for you and offering a helping hand when you need it
I
most.
love that.
Yeah.
And speaking of needing a helping hand, let's talk about something that's often whispered about,
Okay.
but rarely discussed openly. The possibility of adoptive parents experiencing feelings of regret or inadequacy.
It's so important to normalize those feelings.
It is.
Adoption is a huge life change.
Right.
And it's natural for parents to go through a roller coaster of emotions,
Makes sense.
including moments of doubt, frustration, or even regret.
Yeah, it's like we expect adoptive parents to be these superheroes
Right.
who are instantly filled with boundless love
Yeah.
and never experience any negative emotions.
Exactly. And that's just not realistic.
It's not.
Parenting is hard, period.
It is.
And adoptive parenting comes with its own unique set of challenges.
Absolutely.
So it's crucial to create a space where parents can talk about those feelings
Yeah.
without shame or judgment.
It's about recognizing that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength.
It is.
It's about being honest with yourself and seeking support when you need it.
And speaking of support, there are so many amazing resources available to adoptive families in India.
Really?
Support groups, online forums, therapy specifically designed for adoptive families.
Wow.
These can be lifelines
Yeah.
for parents feeling overwhelmed or alone in their journey.
It's like having a tribe of people who get it, who've been there,
Exactly.
and who can offer advice, encouragement, and a shoulder to cry on when things get tough.
Those connections can be so validating and empowering
Absolutely.
for adoptive parents, reminding them that they're not alone and that it's okay to ask for help.
I love that.
And remember, support isn't just for the parents.
Right.
It's crucial for the child, too.
They're going through a major life transition,
They are.
and they need all the love, understanding, and support they can get.
Exactly. Encouraging them to talk about their feelings,
Uh-huh.
validating their emotions,
Okay.
and creating a safe space where they can be themselves is so important.
That's great.
And what about connecting with their birth culture?
Oh, yeah.
Is that something adoptive parents should be thinking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all about honoring and celebrating the child's heritage. Whether it's through exposing them to their birth language, cultural traditions, or even connecting them with others who share their background.
It's about recognizing that their story didn't begin the day they joined your family.
Exactly.
They have a history, a culture, an identity that deserves to be acknowledged and celebrated.
Beautifully put. It's about weaving together their past and present
Yeah,
to create a rich tapestry of identity and belonging.
I like that.
Okay, we've covered a lot of heavy stuff in this episode,
We have.
but I want to end on a positive note.
Okay.
Because despite the challenges, adoption is ultimately about building families and creating those unbreakable bonds of love.
You're so right. It's about opening your heart and your home to a child who needs a loving and supportive family.
Yeah.
It's about creating a space where they can thrive, grow, and reach their full potential.
And sometimes it's about breaking down barriers and redefining what family truly means.
Well said. It's about embracing the beauty of diversity and recognizing that families come in all shapes and sizes.
On that heartwarming note, I think it's time to wrap up part 2 of our deep dive into adoption in India.
Okay.
We've explored the emotional landscape, dove into unique adoption scenarios, and talked about the importance of support and connection.
We've certainly covered a lot of ground, and I hope our listeners are feeling even more prepared to embark on this incredible journey.
I'm sure they are. But the conversation doesn't end here.
Right.
In part 3, we'll hear from real people who've walked this path,
Sounds good.
answer those lingering questions,
Okay.
and leave you with some food for thought
Okay.
as you navigate your own adoption adventure.
We'll be back with inspiring stories, insightful advice, and a reminder that love truly knows no bounds.
And don't forget, if you're loving this deep dive into adoption, hit that like button and subscribe to Legum Doctors for more legal deep dives on all sorts of fascinating topics.
We're all about making the law accessible, engaging, and a little less intimidating.
Join us for the final chapter of this deep dive into adoption in India. It's going to be an emotional one. Welcome back to the deep dive.
It's good to be back.
In the previous parts, we've kind of gone through this legal maze of adoption in India.
Yeah.
We talked about eligibility, all those steps,
There's emotional aspects.
emotional roller coaster.
Yep.
But sometimes hearing real life stories
Yeah.
can really help to understand
Totally.
what this journey's all about.
Absolutely. You know, stories have a way of cutting through all the legalese
Yeah.
and touching our hearts,
Mhm.
reminding us that behind every adoption, there's a human story unfolding.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's hear some of those stories.
Okay.
What have you got for us today?
Okay. Well, first up, we have Priya, a single woman who always dreamed of being a mother.
Okay.
She went through the entire process on her own,
Wow.
faced some hurdles along the way,
I'm it.
but ultimately welcomed a beautiful baby girl into her life.
Oh.
Her story is a reminder that family isn't defined by societal norms,
Yeah.
but by love and commitment.
I love Priya's story. It's so inspiring.
It
It
is.
shows that single women can absolutely rock parenthood
Yes, they can.
and create those loving and lasting family bonds.
For sure.
What other stories have you dug up?
Okay, so here's one that highlights the ups and downs of the process.
Okay.
We have a couple, let's call them Rahul and Anjali,
Okay.
who faced numerous delays and bureaucratic roadblocks.
Oh, no.
There were moments when they almost gave up,
I bet.
but their unwavering determination to build a family
Yeah.
led them to their son, a bright and energetic little boy who brought immeasurable joy into their lives.
Their story is so relatable.
It is.
You know, it shows that the journey to parenthood isn't always smooth sailing,
Right.
but the destination is so worth it.
Absolutely.
Okay, one more story before we move on. What
Okay.
else have you got?
Last but not least, we have a story that touches upon a theme we discussed earlier.
Okay.
Adopting a child with special needs.
Okay.
Meet Maya and David, a couple who made the conscious decision to open their hearts and their home to a child with Down syndrome.
Wow.
Their journey has been full of learning and adaptation.
I can imagine.
But their love for their child shines through every challenge.
Maya and David's story is just a testament to the boundless capacity of the human heart
It is.
to love and embrace difference.
It really is.
It's a reminder that every child, regardless of their abilities,
Yeah,
deserves a family and a chance to thrive.
absolutely. You know, these stories, while just a glimpse into the world of adoption,
Yeah.
they highlight the diverse paths people take
Right.
and the transformative power of creating families through this process.
Okay, I'm feeling all warm and fuzzy inside after hearing those incredible stories.
I do.
But I know there are probably still some questions swirling around in our listeners' minds.
I'm sure.
What are some common ones you've encountered?
Okay, well, one I hear a lot is,
Yeah.
do I have to be wealthy to adopt?
Okay. Yeah, I bet that's a concern for a lot of prospective parents.
It is.
What's the truth?
It's a myth that you need to be rich to adopt.
Okay.
Curious focus is on ensuring the child's well-being,
Uh-huh.
and that means finding a loving and stable home. Not necessarily a luxurious one.
Okay.
You need to be financially secure, of course.
Yeah.
But it's more about demonstrating that you can provide for the child's basic needs.
Right. So it's less about your bank balance
Yeah,
and more about your heart
exactly.
and your commitment
Yeah,
to providing a nurturing environment.
exactly.
Here's another question that often comes up.
Okay.
Can I adopt a child of a specific religion?
Yes, the religion question.
Yeah, that can be a tricky one.
It can be. The answer isn't always straightforward.
Okay.
It depends on a few factors,
Okay.
including the personal laws that apply to you and the child.
Right.
But remember, CRA encourages prospective parents to be open to children from diverse backgrounds.
It's about recognizing that love transcends religious boundaries.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And prioritizing the child's need for a loving family
Yeah,
above all else.
exactly. Here's one that often sparks debate.
Uh,
Is it better to adopt a baby or an older child?
That's a question with no easy answers.
It is.
What are your thoughts?
There's no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
It's a deeply personal decision
Yeah.
that depends on your individual circumstances,
Okay.
preferences, and ability to meet the child's needs.
Right.
Babies require a lot of care and attention,
Yeah.
while older children might come with more emotional baggage.
You have to really think about what you can handle.
You do. It's about understanding your own capabilities
Yeah.
and being realistic about what you can handle.
Right.
Ultimately, the best choice is the one that feels right for you and your family.
Exactly.
And remember, every child, regardless of their age, deserves a loving home.
Okay, I think we have time for one last question before we wrap things up.
Okay, here's a common one that speaks to the Kahile emotions involved in adoption.
Okay.
Will my adopted child ever want to find their biological parents?
That's a valid concern.
Mm.
Yeah, it's about acknowledging the child's history
Yeah.
and recognizing that there's stuff we didn't begin with you.
Precisely. It's a conversation that adoptive parents should be prepared to have with their child. Approaching it with sensitivity,
Right.
openness, and respect for their feelings.
Absolutely. It's not about shutting down those feelings
No.
or pretending they don't exist.
Right.
It's about creating a safe space for the child to explore their identity and their roots.
Exactly. It's all about open communication, honesty, and recognizing that adoption is a lifelong journey of discovery
Yeah.
for both the child and the adoptive family.
Well, I think we've covered just about every nook and cranny of adoption in India.
I think we have.
From the legal intricacies to those
Yeah.
heartwarming stories and
Yeah.
those tough questions
Right.
that everyone's thinking about.
It's been a fulfilling journey, hasn't it?
It has.
We've laughed, we've learned, and we've hopefully inspired some of you listening
Yeah.
to consider opening your hearts and homes to a child in need.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Good.
And listeners, if you've enjoyed this deep dive into adoption, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Legum Doctors for more legal deep dives on all sorts of interesting topics.
Yes, we make the law accessible, engaging, and maybe even a little bit fun.
So until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and remember that the power of love can create families in the most extraordinary ways.
Absolutely.